Mr. Green.
I'm found to be the nicest. On the mic it with rhyme writing. My mind states gone cipher divine righteous. This is the sound of refinement. Extra time spent on every line written. You can hear the difference when I'm rhyming. The barbarian rap writings like Clash of the Titans. I wield the pen like Poseidon holding the golden triton. On the mic I strike faster than vipers and flashes of bolts of lightning. My poetry will leave the Pope enlightened. Whack rappers is past time. You paid the Pied Piper as the price just skyrocket. I stand to make a profit. I rap circles and spirals above your favorite artist like an identifiable flying object with balls so far over your head. I'm honest to be rhyming in high orbit. If I dumb the metaphors down, you think the sky was falling. Rappers' arms too short to shadow box with the lords in the pantheon of rap. I'm the high exalted, the new God flow. Prepare your offering. I treat the booth like the synagogue, cause the mic's my calling. I should congregate a following. Although agnostic, you felt the flow was God sent, further personifying my Messiah complex.
And welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. It is March 23rd, 2019. How's everybody's weekend going? It's early. Maybe you had a brunch. Maybe you got some stuff to do around the house. Hopefully the weather has passed you. If you're dealing with the flooding, I hope you're getting the help and the resources that you need. Maybe you're out there just out and about. You happen to have my site bookmarked, you're listening to the show, you tune in, I appreciate it. It's all love. Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. Got a lot to talk about today, all kinds of storylines out there that, I went through them as I was putting the show together, what I wanted to talk about, what I wanted to touch on, and there was really a lot to pull from this week. That's kind of the beauty of this time of the year for me. I do more shows during the NFL season. I'm more of an NFL guy. I have a little bit more knowledge in that space, as many of you know. So at this time of year, I sit back a little more. I let the stories come to me as they, come out during the week. What kind of sparks my interest? What kind of upsets me? What gives me high promise? I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but the Special Olympics athletes doing their thing have been remarkable with their highlights this week. If you haven't seen those, I definitely recommend checking out those Special Olympic athletes that are out there doing their thing, because if that doesn't inspire you, I mean, come on. And that's not me looking down on them like, oh, look at these less fortunate people who are able to achieve. That's me looking at the athlete going, they don't let anything stop them. They don't have a hurdle in front of them that keeps them from doing what they want to do and achieving the success that they have. So you have no excuse not to be out there doing what you need to do to achieve whatever you want to achieve. Period. Game respects game. And those athletes, they've got it. They enjoy it. They have the purity of the sport still in their heart, in their mind, as they compete, as they're successful, as they fail. I love it. I love it. So definitely go check that out. But today, what are we going to get to today? We are going to talk about Ichiro. He's retiring this week. Of course, NCAA tournament time. We'll hit on that a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more NBA. We got some NFL news today. We got groundbreaking stuff going on in the NFL. Glass ceilings being shattered. Glass ceilings in the WWE that might, just continue to get higher. We'll talk about some of that. Is that just a storyline that's going right now? Is there some tension there? Is there history to back up this tension? Are they trying to prey on racial tension to make money right now, to make gains for their company? We'll talk about that. We've got 8-year-old chess champions. So we'll see how much of all these different things we can get to today. Let's start off with the NCAA tournament. The men's second round is kicking off this weekend. Women's first round is now underway also. So a lot of basketball going on. Maybe that's what you're out doing today. You're out at a restaurant. You're out at your favorite bar having a beverage. maybe you're kicking it around the house with the fellas, and all your friends and your ladies around, and you're just enjoying the college basketball, rooting for your favorite team, the team with your best mascot, favorite color, however you pick your bracket. Currently, my bracket's busted. I'll say it right out. I mean, I still have 15 of the 16 teams on my men's side for the Sweet 16. I still have 7 of the 8 grade 8 teams I picked. But, I mean, once you miss a game, your bracket has been busted. I missed, excuse me, I missed, I want to say 3 games the opening day. Missed a few more since then. Mostly the upsets that I picked. I had Nevada. I thought Nevada was I had them all the way into the grade 8. That clearly is not going to happen. They came out and laid an egg. I thought with the team that they had, winning the conference championship in back-to-back years, Zach Bai mentioned this week here in local radio in Denver, that they had, I believe, 7,000-point scorers on their roster. They had a veteran roster. They had brought guys back, and it seemed like it was lining up for a team like Nevada in the 7th seed to kind of make a little bit of a run. That did not happen. So, that kind of screws up my bracket a little bit. Not going to get that Warren Buffett money, $1 million a year for life for the perfect Sweet 16 at this point. I did not see UC Irvine doing what they did. I had New Mexico State winning, and we saw the blunder at the end of that game. They ended up losing by 1. So, I mean, it's fun. I fill them out. I don't do them for money anymore. I'll enter a free contest just for fun because that's how I get the bracket to fill out. So, enjoy it. We'll see how my women's bracket goes after today. We'll see how many games I get wrong today. I'm bound to get them wrong, but it's a fun time of year, so, get your people together, get some snacks, get some drinks, watch some basketball, have fun, be safe, be real. It's what it's about at this time of year. Other basketball news out there right now, we are experiencing in a year where the greatest player in the world is on a down team, missed a month and a half of the season, saw his team go from 4th to, I think they're at 14th now, officially eliminated from the playoff race in LeBron James, where he's still having, 27, 28 points per game, 7, 8 assists, 7, 8, 9 rebounds a game. So still having a great year, down year for him. First time in over a decade he's not going to be in the playoffs, but we're still witnessing greatness this season without him doing what he's doing. Golden State's not putting up ridiculous numbers, all kinds of wins. They're tied with the Nuggets right now for the best record in the West. But James Harden, his scoring this season has been unbelievable. Outside of, in my life, watching Kobe Bryant do what he did, I haven't seen another scorer on that level for this much of a time during a season. It was incredibly impressive to see what Russell Westbrook did when he averaged a triple-double for a season, when he had 42 triple-doubles in one season. That was amazing. That did not compare to this scoring output that James Harden is putting up this year, 36.5 points per game. Another 60-point game on the season. Another 50-point-plus game on the season, excuse me. He's also increased his defense. His steals are up to about 2.2, 2.3 per game. And that has always been a knock, especially even from me, about James Harden, is all he is a one-type player. He wants to go out and score. He's not good without the ball in his hand. He's not good at making other players better, and defense was not his strong suit. Well, since his MVP season last year, he is proving all of that to not be true. He is becoming a rounded player. He was a great scorer. He had tenacity. He had competitiveness. Now his defense is getting much better, much improved on the defensive side of the ball. He's become the all-around player this year. Now, Houston, we've said it before on the show. Other people have said it out there in the sports world. This model does not win championships. When Kobe was able to win championships, he had that true complementary piece in a Shaquille O'Neal, in a Pau Gasol, in another player who picked up the slack and got those points. James Harden currently does not have that on the Rockets. So if he has an off night, if he scores 20, 25 points, which is a good night for most, they don't really have a chance. If he's not out there being the do-all, end-all type player, they're not getting it from Chris Paul right now. Capella did not develop the way I thought he would and take a step forward this season so far. In fact, I think he almost regressed a little bit after getting paid as far as his effort night to night. Eric Gordon's not having the same kind of season. Green had a big night the other night, but I would still like to see more from him night in and night out. The Melo experiment didn't work, and who would have thought we would not see Melo play basketball the rest of the season since November? I had him on my fantasy team bench the whole time because I figured he would have gotten with a team. I looked to see if there was somebody else to pick up, but I didn't want to drop him and have him end up with LeBron James, who would have fed him the ball and who would have been a good facilitator for Carmelo moving forward. But 61 points again from Harden. We saw his streak earlier in the season of 50-point games. This is a career high that he's matched with 61. He's hit 60, I believe, 5 times. The only players that have more 60-point games are Jordan, Kobe, and there's one more. Maybe I can't remember who it is. Anyway, there's only 3 players who have more games with 50 or 60 points in their career than James Harden. It's greatness, the scoring that we're seeing. His ability to get to the rim when everybody knows how he gets there. Everybody knows he uses the Euro step. His 3-point shooting. He shot one from, probably about 35 feet the other night. He is part of this new scoring evolution that we are seeing in the NBA, and it's impressive. I'm enjoying watching the highlights. I don't watch all the Houston Rockets games, but I enjoy watching the highlights. I enjoy going back and watching the tape, and I am enjoying all of the pundits hearing them talk about this guy. It has been truly impressive. But has that been enough to pass a Giannis and what he's doing up there with Milwaukee? Because if you look at what Milwaukee's doing right now, they've clinched their division. They've clinched the playoff spot a week or two ago. They're 54-19 in the East, with the top 5 teams in the East being better than the bottom 4 teams in the West. Now, the from 5 through 8 in the West is up for grabs. Oklahoma City went from 8 to 5 in one game. Portland's only a couple games better than that in the 4th spot. Houston's sitting at 3rd with 46 wins. Now, stats-wise, sure, he's outscoring Giannis. Giannis is leading that team at 24 years old to 54 wins so far in the season. And I've heard, we got to see what he does in the playoffs. We got to see it in the playoffs. He didn't do it in the playoffs. The MVP award is not for the playoffs. They have an MVP for that. It's the finals MVP. The MVP award is for what you did in the season. And right now, what's in season, Giannis is having a great season. Paul George he kind of fell out of the conversation with Oklahoma City's troubles recently. Kawhi really hasn't been in the conversation since the beginning of the year. The Golden State Warriors all cancel each other out. And Jokic isn't going to get his due until the Nuggets do win a championship. And then maybe the year after that, he gets a little bit more credit for what he's doing. Is he in the MVP talk? Sure, he's in the MVP talk. Houston currently sitting in 3rd in the Western Conference, 4 games back from Denver and Golden State. They have games, I believe, against both of those teams still coming up. I know they play the Nuggets still coming up. I'll be at the Nuggets game Tuesday night when they take on the 6th-seed Pistons from the Eastern Conference. And the Pistons, just a little while ago, they weren't even really in the playoff hunt. And now here they are at 37-34, right in the thick of it, basically, in the back end of the Eastern Conference. Set up to play 76ers right now if the playoffs started today, which honestly would be a pretty good matchup. Probably go to 6-7 games. So we're witnessing greatness this season, even without the best player in the world having the best, most dominant season. You can't get around that. You got to enjoy it, and you got to appreciate it. We'll see if it's enough to win that second straight MVP, if it's enough to overcome what Milwaukee and Giannis have been able to do? Who knows? Can Shaq overcome what Papa John did to Papa John's? Now, we all know Papa has left the building officially. He's no longer fighting it or taking it, legal action or anything like that to try and get his company back after it was found out that he was making racial comments. So this time's gone by. Papa John's business was hurt a little bit by it. Their numbers dropped some. They ultimately decided to move Papa out. And now here comes Shaquille O'Neal. He's got this growing industry of businesses that he's a part of. He's got his new chicken restaurants and things like that he's out there, stepping into the food industry. He's got a restaurant across the street from the Staples Center. And now he is joining the Papa John's board of directors. I think that's a great move because this is a company that had a lot of business. It has a stadium named after it, College Stadium. And there's money to be made there, especially with his name attached to it. They are now in a position, and if they are somehow able to get Peyton Manning back as an ambassador, to where you have two names like that to take over the pizza market. Now, Pizza Hut's still associated with the NCAA tournament that's going on. They still have, a large following. But marketing. You got a personality like Manning. You got a personality like Shaq. That is definitely going to help the Papa John's brand moving forward. So impressive. Impressive for Papa John's that they were able to work that deal out. Smart for Shaq to be able to jump on it and not miss out on an opportunity to further his business interests post-basketball. Oh, man. All right. Let's move on from basketball stories. Let's move into some football stories. Putting out a statement just about a half hour ago was Robert Kraft. So let's talk about that situation a little bit. New this week, they're trying to suppress the evidence. They don't want the tapes or any of the information to get out to the public. The sheriff is saying that the tape probably will be released. State attorney battling with Kraft's attorney, kind of war of words going back and forth. Kraft's lawyer saying the state attorney really doesn't have any evidence. He needs to apologize for wasting resources and making the accusations that they have made. And we talked about this when this story first broke. Why was his name the one that was used out of all the names on the list? Was it because it's so well known? We heard that there was more well-known names on the list, and it turns out so far there has not been any more well-known names on the list. So could it be true? Is the FBI somehow using him for press in this situation, and they really didn't have enough and didn't think it through? Is this a case of a billionaire just trying to get off, no pun intended, from legal action and using his money and influence to do that? Would a billionaire really not know what's going on in a strip mall's location and then accidentally get caught up in that when he could have any number of masseuses, escorts, women just meet him wherever he is? But this one place in Jupiter, Florida, that happens to have so many high rollers, happens to have so many high influence people that know the founder. And she's not running it anymore. She hasn't run it for a few years. But all these weird connections that are there. Are they somehow, these high rollers, going to be able to make it go away because of their influence and because of the power they have? Is this somehow part of the secret elite sex and pedophile rings that we hear about that are out there? And more important to all of this story, before we get to Kraft's statement, is what happened to the women that were at this place after the raid. Are they getting help? Did they go home? Have they been deported? Are they in jail? That's the bigger story, is the victims, not Robert Kraft because he owns the freaking Patriots. That's how sickening this situation is, that we are focused on the billionaire football owner as opposed to, are these women okay? I haven't heard anybody reporting about this talk about the victims. We want to sensationalize all of the people who commit the crimes or are accused of the crimes. Why? We're not talking about anybody else's name that's on that list but Robert Kraft in connection to this situation. And Robert Kraft's connection to the founder, and the founder's connection to all of these other high-profile GOP members. I even saw a report out there that she was selling access to other Chinese officials to these parties that these high-rolling GOP members were at. Don't know if all that's true or not. It could all be a smokescreen. It could all be a cover-up. It's ridiculous. It's gross. To me, in my opinion, if I'm a billionaire, I know what's going on at a strip mall location if that's where I'm choosing to go get a massage. I'm a billionaire. I can pay for the best masseuse in the world. I could fly to Japan and get a massage. I could go to Sweden and get a massage. I could get a massage on the back end of a freaking volcano if I wanted to. So to pick a small little place in Jupiter, Florida at a strip mall, in my opinion, you know what that place is about. You know what's going on there if something's going on there. You're not putting yourself in a bad position on purpose. So I don't buy the idea that Mr. Kraft didn't know what was going on in this location if the FBI and the statements we know and the raid and all this kind of stuff is accurate and is truthful. I don't buy it. Now, they offered him a plea deal. All he had to do was admit that he would be found guilty at trial, and he would get some community service and some fines and have to take STD test and things like that. He would rather, and they chose not to take it, they'd rather fight than admit any kind of wrongdoing, which to me, conspiracy theory-wise, thinking down that rabbit hole, they have a way to make it go away because of their power, because of people they know. Maybe they know the state attorney's boss just well enough. Maybe they're out there currently searching for dirt that they can hold over them to influence the situation. Watched too many movies, read too many books. I get it. Put on my tinfoil hat, right? You never can tell when you're dealing with that kind of money and that kind of power what will actually happen. Now, does that mean he's guilty? Does that mean he did it? Does that mean he knew? No, it doesn't. It is possible he did not know. This just happened to be a place recommended to him. He enjoyed the founder's company and friendship, and things went south, and he was completely caught off guard, and he's being scapegoated because of his name. Possibility. Willing to admit that. Again, in my opinion, highly unlikely. So, about a half hour ago, a little more than a half hour ago, here is Robert Kraft's first statement. We heard his lawyer's statement the other day, but here's Robert Kraft's statement from just a little while ago. In deference to the judicial process, I have remained silent these past several weeks to correct some of the misinformation surrounding this matter. My attorney made his first public comments on Friday night. I would like to use this opportunity to say something that I have wanted to say for weeks. I am truly sorry. I know I have hurt and disappointed my family, my close friends, my coworkers, our fans, and many others who rightfully hold me to a higher standard. Throughout my life, I have always tried to do the right thing. The last thing I would ever want to do is disrespect another human being. I have extraordinary respect for women. My morals and my soul were shaped by the most wonderful woman, the love of my life, who I was blessed to have as my partner for 50 years. We all know how much his wife passing affected him and what she meant to him. As I move forward, I hope to continue to use the platform with which I have been blessed to help others and to try to make a difference. I expect to be judged not by my words, but by my actions. And through those actions, I hope to regain your confidence and respect. So even there, that's got me thinking, okay, that's almost like admitting it without admitting it. I don't want you to believe I did or didn't do it. I just want you to judge me on what I'm going to do moving forward. Give me another try. Give me another shot. Now he's due his due process. It is not right the court of the public opinion has taken over so much in this country, and we have all become so sensationalized and headline driven. We need to wait for all the facts to come out in a situation before we want to jump and ruin and, destroy somebody. We can have our opinions, but they're just that, opinions. So we'll wait to see how this plays out. We'll wait to see how we all feel about it. And, we'll come back and we'll address it again, and we're going to follow this for sure. I would love it if anybody out there could find out what happened to the women. Because, again, to me, that is the most important part of this story, is the women that this happened to and where they're at now. Not the men who are going to try and get off, or did get off, pun intended, in this sick, perverse way. All right, I ran a poll. More NFL. Let's move on. I ran a poll this week on Twitter. It's going to be going up for another few days, I think. Just impressed with a couple of GMs. Who's the better GM going right now? Is it the Colts' Chris Ballard or the Browns' John Dorsey? Because these two GMs right now, the deals they are making, the way they are shaping their teams, the cap money they have, the picks they have used, the trades they have made, they're doing great jobs. Chris Ballard is not just spending money like crazy. The players he is bringing in, they clearly have a purpose. Devin Funchess, the taller receiver, to go with the T.Y. Hilton, the smaller guy. They have a tight end who's worked. Now you've got two bigger red zone threats, while T.Y. Hilton can kind of be moved around. He can't get as much coverage rolled his direction. The signing of Justin Houston, bringing in that extra edge presence. The draft picks last year of Quentin Nelson and the linebacker DeMarcus, or 53. Both rookie all-pro selections. Both should have been in the Pro Bowl. John Dorsey, we saw what he did in Kansas City. Moving into Cleveland, he's now got the swag pound built. He's got a team that looks like, on paper, could be very well the AFC North favorites. Could be looking at a playoff berth for the first time since who knows when for the Browns. A meaningful one anyway. And what these two guys are doing, the way they're building teams, the quarterbacks they've brought in, the coaches they've brought in, the players they've brought in, it's impressive. It's impressive. It's understanding why these fan bases are so excited in both of these cities, why they're excited moving forward. They're not reaching for players. The Browns bring in a Kareem Hunt, but he's not going to play for 8 weeks. They didn't need him right away. His contract is not huge, but when he does come back, he's going to help that team. They have Duke Johnson. They have Nick Chubb. They've made good draft picks. They've made good trades. They've both, Chris Ballard and John Dorsey, have built impressive rosters that continue to look like they're getting better. Darius Leonard, that was his name. And currently in the poll, John Dorsey is leading. So if you want to vote, if you want to go check out the live poll, check out the Twitter page at RealDealKVP, and you can put your 2 cents in on it. My 2 cents for the Cardinals, amazing. I mean, not the Cardinals, for the Bucks. That was his former team. Bruce Arians has hired the first 2 full-time female assistant coaches in the NFL. Now, we saw this where he hired female assistants to come in Arizona. We've seen other teams do it since then. But he has now hired Coach Maral Javadafar, the strength and conditioning. She's an assistant coach in that department. And Lori Locust, who, shout out to Lori. She is a friend of mine on social media. I follow her ever since she first had the shot there in Arizona with Bruce Arians. She is going to be an assistant defensive line coach. Bruce Arians has been touted this week as being the only coach who will speak football with the female reporters on an in-depth and technical level, using the same language he would use with male reporters and or players, and then also being willing to explain some of that and, really talk about it. So, mad respect there. The game's changing. There's nothing keeping women from being a part of the coaching world, the GM world, the ownership world, except men. They're definitely capable. They're definitely smart enough. We've now seen the college athlete who's going to the NAIA school down there in Texas to play some free safety for him. First female to get a position player scholarship in college football. And things are changing. You know, I've been of the mindset, and again, she's playing on the NII level. She's not lining up at Alabama. There's still hurdles as far as that goes to be at the top level of playing the sport. I don't know if those hurdles can ever be overdone, but the LFL, that's a great female football league. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. Those women can play. Their athleticism is on point. They know the game. They're being coached well. And their tenacity and their fire, you know, the men could learn from it because they're not out there playing for the money. They are out there playing for the love of the game because that's what they have right now is the love of the game. They don't have millions of dollars. They don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in most cases, they don't have tens of thousands of dollars coming their way to play. So they are truly out there playing for the love. They are truly out there playing with purity. And it's impressive. And I'm glad the women are finally getting, you know, their chance, you know, to be officials and referees and coaches and college football athletes. Go out there, earn it, put in the work, do your thing, break that glass ceiling down. Make sure that glass ceiling is shattered. And when you earn it, nobody can take that away from you, whether you're female, whether you're male. If it's earned, it's not given to you, it's not a publicity stunt, it's not a joke, it's not somehow, you know, I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's good. Both coaches down there, I think, are going to succeed. I think they're going to change the tide and the perception. And I'm looking forward to see them succeed with Tampa Bay. And maybe more doors open for other coaches and athletes. We'll have to see moving forward. But glass ceilings coming down. Now, on the other side of the glass ceiling is when the glass ceilings go up. Does the WWE have a race issue? Are they continuing to put glass ceilings in place for their black athletes? I ask because of this week, the storyline that they are doing with Kofi Kingston. One of his partners, Big E, went to social media. He's got another partner, Xavier Woods. And it's been going back and forth between these guys and the McMahons on their live show about Kofi Kingston getting his shot after all these years and all the things he's done for the company at the WWE title and how Vince McMahon is holding him back. He goes through this big match, and you can kind of see how this is a storyline to sell stuff. But then you look at it. You see a Mark Henry. You remember a Coco Beware, a Junkyard Dog. You see what's happened with Bobby Lashley and his fleeting opportunities at a title here and there, or an R-Truth almost getting the title as a joke every now and then. Ron Simmons, the way he was used. Tony Atlas, the way he was forgotten. So is this just a storyline where the writers and these performers are carrying it out online because of the influence on social media now? Or are they out there on their own actually expressing, you know, some frustration? Are they stoking a fire for money and publicity? Like, this racial tension that we have in this country, are they using that for gain somehow right now? Is that the direction the WWE is taking their black athletes? Is let's use this fire that our president has created and stoked and given all of these ugly people a platform to be nasty? Are they doing this anti-establishment thing they've been doing with the top female talent? And now they're going to do it with their black athletes and have them push back against the McMahons. So we'll have our females pushing back and our black athletes pushing back. Are we going to get the Usos involved now and just have all of our diverse talent pushing back against the McMahons and the power? Is that the perception they want everybody to have? So I kind of looked at it a little bit and tried to remember throughout my history of watching the WWF, WCW, WWE, and The Rock, who is half black, is the only African American, if you want to say it, who's ever held the WWE title, the pinnacle of the sport. Various athletes going back to 1983 have held the tag titles for a different amount of time. The first Intercontinental Champion that was black did not take place until 1993. There's been 7 different athletes since then for that title. The women's titles, there's been 4, Jacqueline, Jazz, Naomi, and Sasha Banks have all held it at some point. But that pinnacle, the WWE champion, the world title, is not something the black athlete has ever been able to get to. Now, Samoans have had their time. Latino wrestlers have had their time. Asian wrestlers have had their time. But is that because of the following they brought from the different areas, New Japan wrestling and the luchadors in the Latin countries, and what they can bring as far as money as to why? Because none of them really had long title reigns either. They were just given a cup of coffee, basically. All of them short while, no long title runs outside of the tag title space where, Harlem Heat had some success. So why don't they get a top title peak of the industry shots? Why only the one black title holder for the WWE? Is there some kind of connection we don't know about? Is there a race issue? I mean, they are friends with 45, the McMahon family. We all know what his stance on race is. So could this be a birds of a feather type thing? Why are so many other white counterparts getting so many chances whether or not they've put in the work that a Kofi Kingston has? Is this one basically Samoan family the WWE's had? Are they just taking advantage of their athleticism and their physical ability all of these years? Maybe not. Maybe it's not a race issue. Maybe it's just a black issue. Maybe it's bad writing and taking advantage of something that they know will separate, divide, and cause an uproar in people, specifically to make money and drive a TV show. I could see that. That makes sense. What drove a TV show for me this week? Ichiro. Had to wake up, had to see the highlights, had to see him finish his career for the Seattle Mariners playing in Tokyo. He finishes his Major League Baseball career with 3,089 hits, a .311 career average, an MVP and Rookie of the Year in Major League Baseball in 2001, his real rookie year in Japan in 1993. He was a 10-time All-Star, 262 hits in 2004 in one season. That's a record. He had 10 straight 200-hit seasons. The next closest was a guy from the early 1900s who did it 8 straight seasons. Wade Boggs, I think, had it 7 straight. He had a 26-year professional career spanning from Japan to Major League Baseball, starting in 1993 and ending in 2019. He had a rocket of an arm out of the outfield, which we saw again. He came in and pitched in games. He was a hero in Japan when players were crying when he came off the field for the last time that had grown up watching him play. And he was a true unicorn. The way he hit, his ability, his work ethic, and his body regime were all impressive. When he would go to Japan, he had a regime of people that worked with him and what he did to keep his body going for baseball. Truly impressive. He will be missed. One of the greatest players of all time, in my opinion. If you don't know this name, Tinitolua Adewumi, or better known now as Tawny, 8-year-old Nigerian, living in a homeless shelter with his family, wins the New York Chess Championship. He wants to be the youngest grandmaster in history. I say go for it, young man. Go do your thing. He was discovered, he ended up leaving Nigeria with his family because they were scared of religious persecution. They thought the Christians were going to be murdered. So they were able to get out of the country. They're living in New York in a homeless shelter, and he was going to school. His school's chess coach, Sean Martinez, kind of, realized he had some ability, got him invited into Manhattan's PS 116 chess program, where the family could not pay for all the fees and the travel and everything. Russell Makovsky, who oversees the program, waived all of those fees, has started a GoFundMe for Tawny. And this family's been offered jobs, cars, legal. They're hoping maybe to get a home and have an opportunity. And this young man, I saw his interview. He's a good kid. He deserves a chance. I'm so happy for him. Do your thing, Tawny. Go out there, become the youngest grandmaster, and make your life and your family's life better. I mean, it's a great story. It's chess of all things. He's 8 years old. He's showing a lot of promise. He loves the deep thinking, he said. That was his favorite part about chess, the deep thinking. How many of us out there can say deep thinking is our favorite part about anything? So, Tawny, much respect, young man. I'd love a chance to talk to you on the show. If you somehow hear this, please reach out. I would love to congratulate you. And until next time, that's all I got. Bill and Ted 3 coming out 2020. I normally finished with Be Real. This time, be excellent to each other.
Yo, Denver City life living every night getting it. All I see is green like it's night vision. My sight's different. My type driven. These niggas risking a life sentence over white flipping, but I ain't with it. I'm light skinned it. My mind gifted, intelligence in my disposition, aristocratic image, and not to mention I'm nice with it. The ice drip over cardigan sweaters, tight fitting, white linen. This is the type of shit that entice women. The fly shit that I'm on is passing the sky's limits. Why it's not surprising to see that all of these guys live it. I vivid, solemnly swear the rhyme exquisite with the time I'm giving. My mind flying, defying physics. I stay smooth like sipping out of champagne flutes. Always way cool, but it ain't a thing, just a flame cruise. You lame dudes, this that shit that you can't do. That's why your main boo steady watching me how I make moves.
My high city life got me way above the clouds. Paint the audience a picture every time I draw a crowd. I hold my weight with these bars, so make no mistake. I get to cooking like Chef Curry in Golden State. I'm motivated, I'm taking off, moving vertically. Saying that they were seeing me lyrically, that's absurd to me. Virtually murdering MCs on purpose. Cutting their body parts into pieces is verbal surgery. You say you hot, but you ain't burning to the third degree. Time to bring some urgency in the state of emergency. There's no comparison to us, that's way embarrassing. Making something from nothing like ancient Native Americans. Man, listen, I'm undergoing a transition. My transmissions is filled with nothing but ambition. No remorse on these rappers like a Roman force. Snuck into the game on these suckers inside the Trojan horse. No remorse on these rappers like a Roman force. Snuck into the game on these suckers inside the Trojan horse. No remorse on these rappers like a Roman force. Snuck into the game on these suckers.